Unusual couriers in Dota 2 can be expensive and confusing. If you can't be bothered to learn how ethereal gems and unusual effects work, there are some massively undervalued couriers in Dota that have some really strong effects without being unusual quality, and while remaining considerably cheaper than any unusual that's on the market. The best example of this is the octopus, a $2 octopus courier that has a very strong natural ink swell effect. These couriers are available in unusual quality too, and stacking the effects can look incredible, but this video is about cheap couriers, so I'm starting with my number one. The most underrated and undervalued courier is the octopus due to its inkswell effect. It's incredible, it's very strong in game, and it looks great in loadouts, and you don't see this courier particularly often. Folly the Squire is an interesting one as well. It's scaled slightly larger than it perhaps was meant to be. That's quite a big courier for what it is. This is an example of a combination of every box being ticked. It has really good ambient lighting effects. In fly mode, it has a separate feather cluster effect and a trail of dropping candy behind the courier as well. This courier is under 20 cents. It's an exceptionally good buy for those who are just looking for a cool courier without any effort and not something you're going to see in every game. The next combo here, the red hoof and the jade hoof, are quite common to see in games because they are just exceptional value for what they are. They have a trail effect whilst on the ground, which is quite unique, but the jade hoof has a trail effect similar to Trail of Lotus Blossom. In flying mode, the red hoof isn't particularly interesting, but the jade hoof maintains its trails and effects, and they are very good. The jade hoof is also only like 15 cents, and this is one of the cheapest couriers you can get with an effect that is effectively the unusual effect. So the wyvern hatchling is interesting. It has some style unlocks which make this courier very good. You can easily find these on the market fully unlocked for about 50 cents. I think that the red version is the best. I think it looks like an unusual courier in all honesty, and you can find an unlocked version on the market quite easily. But there is also a gold style, and I don't think that one is as interesting as the red. This one is Lieutenant Squawkins. He has 3 styles. You can find them unlocked with all styles unlocked for under 30 cents on the Steam market. The style I'm interested in and I think is cool is the second style, the rowboat. I think it's just funny and unique. You'll see this sometimes, but you'll only ever see it in-game as the first or the third style. You very rarely see the rowboat in-game, and I think being unique and that cheap, it's undervalued quite considerably. Now, before these next couriers, I would just like to say, if you like this kind of content, Dota 2 cosmetic content has been very thin for quite some time, and I've found a really small group of people who really enjoy this topic. So if you want to see more videos like this or support these videos being made, please consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. It really does help. All 3 versions of the red horn look great. They have very nice effects. Red is the only one I wouldn't use, but green has some nice effects and a cool trail. The gold horn is substantially more expensive. It's about $1, whereas the other 2 are about 20 cents each. The gold one has a mix of the red effects with the gold model, which I think looks very good. You do see these somewhat frequently, but there's a good reason. They're very cheap and the effects are very strong. These are a very good buy and they are absolutely undervalued. The axolotl has 4 styles. You can find these fully unlocked for about $1 on the Steam market. They're very strong effects for a cheap courier. It's a very cool model and some people particularly love this courier on its own. The 3 unlockable styles are all very different, so you do have 3 very different choices from one courier, so you can change these whenever you want, whenever you feel like it, and you're basically buying 3 couriers for the price of 1. The black is the strongest of the effects. All 3 of the unlockable styles are quality. You can get an unlocked golden pudgeling for about 20 cents. It has a quite neat particle system which makes it look like Pudge has rot enabled. It's a somewhat common courier, but it's very cheap and it's pretty undervalued at that. Now there are a few couriers which are around $2 to $2.50, which I think are kind of reasonably priced and sometimes worth buying if they are your style. I don't think these are massively undervalued, but they're just about a good deal. One of the Boxhound couriers fall under that, being around $2, but there are a couple of other options in the Boxhound series that are definitely a better buy. Mechjaw the Boxhound is the best deal. I think it's about 30 cents and has some interesting animations and the signature gold coin trail effect that all of the Boxhound couriers have. The absolute cheapest is the Beetlejaws, which is like 20 cents, but that's really for a particular kind of person, I think. Wibbly's last unlocked style can be found unlocked on the Steam market for about $2. It's an interesting ambient effect. It's not a bad courier. There's good value there if that matches your style of your other cosmetics or your collections. Sapler the Eager has 4 styles. You can find these unlocked on the market for about $2. The last 2 unlocks do look exceptionally good. Both winter and spring look very good and have extremely strong effects for such a cheap item. Even though I own a golden baby Roshan, I still use this courier on my courier shuffle and some other couriers that I've mentioned here today. I think having something unique can be a really good way to keep these cosmetics interesting and not just use the highest value courier you have for every single game. So having some of these really undervalued but interesting couriers in a courier shuffle is definitely something I would recommend doing. Now, I wanted to mention a couple of couriers before my favorite at the end. There are a few couriers that are inexpensive but have some small unique effects that you don't see on any other couriers, such as the Jade Rabbit and the Silken Swineling. They both have a cloud effect below their couriers, which is quite unique, a lot like the Zeus Arcana. So that's just something to keep in mind. There are some other couriers that have some other unique effects, like a lot like how Snailfret, the snail courier, has like a snail trail being left behind it. Anyway, moving on, the very last courier I wanted to show you I think is exceptionally undervalued, and that might be surprising because it's not cheap. It's about 11 US dollars. This is Hermes the Hermit Crab from the 2017 International Battle Pass, and it was made marketable sometime after it was released. I do own one of these from my max level battle pass back then, but you can purchase that same courier now fully unlocked for about $12 on the Steam market. This courier is awesome in so many different ways. It has a bunch of styles, all of which are completely unique. Each of the different styles changes the hermit crab shell on the back to a different item from Dota 2, and they have different ambient effects and different trails, and some of them are extremely strong. Culminating in the glowing Aegis of the Immortal, this top style is exceptional and one of the best for a non-unusual courier in my opinion. The other styles like the Skadi and the Octarine are very good as well, and there are some funny ones like the Necrobook and the Boots of Travel I think are kind of funny. There is also a last style which evolves the courier throughout the game and starts off as the base version and will change to the glowing Aegis throughout a game of Dota. Although it's not cheap, I think this courier is exceptional. Now, hopefully this has been helpful to help you find something unique that you might not see in other games, and a courier that is undervalued and a great deal. Please feel free to comment down below. Are there any couriers that you think are undervalued or overlooked or have overlooked effects? What courier do you currently use? Is it expensive or cheap, or do you not really give a shit? But thanks ever so much for watching. If you do like these videos, please consider subscribing.